Alright, so I left off talking about the differentiation between being a follower of God and being a follower of Jesus. Not that there's too much, but I wanted to point it out because I stopped midway when I was about to say that the Pharisees were followers of Christ, and I switched it to being a follower of God, and I wanted to explain why. So he was talking about the Pharisees were whitewashed tombs, that basically that they worship God with their mouths, but their hearts are far from Him. That, you know, they are more focused on like rules, perceptions, money, image, and things like that, and they keep missing the point of doing what is required. I mean, because like they're faking. They do all the things, you know, they pray, they go to church and things like that, but then they do things like the moment that they have the opportunity to shun someone, to say that they're unclean, to say get out, to say to not be of service, to leave people sick, to leave them unhealed, to leave them in a suffering, they do. And that scene stood out a lot to me as well, because like there's so many pastors, and I don't say these things to like speak against someone who is a child of God, because I recognize that that's not allowed. But what I am speaking about is the people who it is who are lying, specifically the people who it is who are like the Pharisees, and that when there is someone who comes who is going to cast out demons, who's going to heal the sick, who is going to drink poison and not die, and those things, they'll sit in the pulpit and they will share all the rules and say what everybody has to do, but they won't tell them anything what they need to know about like the things that Satan does to get people into bondage without them knowing it, what to expect, what this life is really about, what's really required of us. And they'll stand in the pulpit and they'll call one of God's children. They'll see that someone is being attacked by witchcraft, and they won't go and intercede. You know, whereas like people will sit up here and they'll have knowledge that somebody needs prayer, and they will like cherry pick prayer and then turn around and act like they're doing somebody a favor if they decide to pray for them. And it's like, oh, actually, if they're trying to pick and choose, and if they're operating in that space, then likely they already belong to Satan, and not like where it's like, no, actually don't pray for it. Like everybody don't need it. And I've mentioned that before, where it's just like there are some people where it's just like they think that they're cool and they're not. And this is what this video is not really about, but the main point is about Jesus saying that Judas now belongs to Satan, because it really happens just very casually. There are people, like I believe that some of the councils, or the, what is it called? Like maybe even a commission. I believe very, very strongly that a lot of them are in, like whatever those religious commissions are, I believe that a lot of them are actually in witchcraft, and that there has been a program of some kind that has existed to torment, to unaliving, or torment to physical and or spiritual bondage, or torment to insanity, those who it is who God has called. I feel like they're like people who God has called are identified, and then they're targeted based on their identification and the recognition that, oh, this person's going to come and is going to do something that is going to interrupt my comfort, that is going to interrupt this building and this thing that I'm doing. And then it becomes very, very clear that pastor that they're following, or their perspective and their is really about how many people they saved, not how many people Jesus saved. How many people they brought to Christ, not how many people were brought out of bondage. It becomes about them. There's one person in particular who's coming to mind right now, and I had a dream about him after he tried to play like I was a false prophet. I never said I was a prophet, but I do know that when I say that something's going to happen, it does. Like, I know that when I say, like, when I get a word from God, then that's the word. Like, I never said I was a prophet or anything. I don't really know what my title is. I know that I'm God's daughter, and I know he tells me things that I need to know. I know that, like, pour let him play the targeting that I'm experiencing right now. I know that the circle of people who it is who are involved in it right now, I knew they were coming about a week and a half ago before they got here, because God told me. I know that anytime somebody think that they're about to come and spiritually target me, I know before they even log into whatever they're doing, I already know. So where it's just like somebody that I went to middle school or high school with, like, let's say it's somebody that I went to Milwaukee School of Languages. Let's say it's somebody that I went to school with there, or the high school that I graduated from. Okay, well, God told me they was coming to about a week and a half ago, about 7-9 days ago. So it's just like, I'm not surprised because I already knew. And I'm not psychic. And I caution any child of God to, like, don't align with that. When people, especially those who operate in witchcraft, when they start trying to call you psychic, don't agree with that. Psychic is for the devil. We're not psychic. We're blessed to be connected to the Holy Spirit, who tells us everything we need to know. Because Jesus promised that, he said that he doesn't call us servants because a servant does not know their master's business, but he calls us friends because anything the Father tells him, he tells us. And he tells us in dreams, visions. He tells us by way of just giving us a knowing. He just does it. And that's one of the primary reasons why the enemy is always attacking people in their dreams, always attacking the mind, always attacking the brain, and always lying and pretending like there is a lack of mental nutrients, like God's children are like mentally malnourished when we're not. Just lying, hoping that the lie becomes true, but in hopes that we'll be disconnected from the God that tells us everything we need to know. But God says, yeah, I know what they're going to do, and I'm actually going to drive them mad. And for you, I'm going to keep your mind, and I'm going to keep your heart when you keep fixed on me. When you focus on me, I got you. You're good. So anybody who's focused on God, ain't no way in the world that they done lost their daggone mind. Because God is a rock. He does not fail. There is no such thing as failure with God. He cannot fail. It is literally impossible. Like, his precision is absolutely spot on. And this is coming from somebody who I felt the attacks. I felt somebody try to make me forget something, make me do this and make me do that. I felt the attacks. You know what happened? God broke that right off of me repeatedly. Always. He always does. He always will. I'm his. If you're one of his, you're his. He's got it. Like, one thing he gonna do is he is going to defend those that are his. It is not a fair fight. It is not worth it. Just don't go there. It's so not a good idea. It's just not. Just don't. Don't sit in your bed thinking about ways to do evil to other people. Just don't do it. Go heal. I know a healer. He healed me and healed me and healed me, and he's going to do it again. We will always need his healing. Go heal. Anyway, so In the dream though, backing up, because I went off on the Lord. I went off on God. But I saw in the dream where he was like, tell them to stop making their church about them. And I did. I kid you not. I wake up, guess who's like warfaring against me? Members of the church. But I said it. I did what I was told to do. Because it's just like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it's like, yeah, but they're also not doing. You know, man, where it's just like, okay, but that part where you supposed to like, where you're supposed to not let the devil do whatever he wanted to do to God's people, not doing that part. Because people be scared of that stuff you can't see. But I don't know why. Anyway, so Judas. There's something else I was supposed to say, and I said about the dream. IDK. But Judas, so he's sitting at the table. Jesus gives him like a little bite of, a little snackety doodah, gives him a little bite of food real quick, and he's like, you don't have to stay here. And you know, Judas sitting up here trying to act all surprised, trying to act like, what? Yeah, and don't they do that? Don't they be sitting up here trying to act like they don't know that they hate you? It's like, oh, like how you feel about me is known to me, but a secret to you. Like, come stop the madness. But he said, I forget the exact wording, but Jesus goes, you belong to him now. And Judas goes, who? Judas goes, who? And Jesus says, not God. And mind you, he didn't make the deal yet. He didn't kiss Jesus on the cheek yet. The only thing that happened at this point is he began to become more and more incensed with Jesus, because Jesus wasn't, I don't want to spoil it, because Jesus wasn't doing what he felt like Jesus needed to be doing. And because of that scene where Mary, the sister of Lazarus, and Martha, you know that song, Martha, don't you weep, Martha, don't you moan. So that's the Martha that is Mary's sister and Lazarus's sister as well. I know some of y'all probably know that song from the beginning of Crossroads by Bone, but the song that she's singing in the church is about Martha and Mary crying because Lazarus had died. This is before Jesus rose him up from the dead. So anyway, so he was critical, and he took issue with Mary pouring the perfume on Jesus's feet to prepare him for burial. So his heart began to turn. And because he wouldn't check that and repent and like go to Jesus, and like he wouldn't come off it, he belonged to Satan that fast. And that's how quickly it happens. It's a matter of how you allow yourself to continuously feel without checking it and doing something about it. I hope this helps.